Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh and watching Global Governance News TV. Today, going to discuss today Global South Corridor G20 and Bharat. That we know the Bharat in India, but very soon it will be the only Bharat, not India, as I think, as you presume, as we think. And just also dreams also, and always dreams come true. So, what is the global south? We'll discuss on that and how we are going to the just for the success way north south divide. As we know, it may not be confused with the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, but okay, the concept of global north and south in global context, the now north south divide we can understand used to describe grouping of countries along the lines of socio-economic and political characteristics. The Global South is a term and broadly comprises countries in the region of Africa, Latin America, and Caribbean and Asia without Israel, Japan, and South Korea, and Oceania without Australia and New Zealand, according to United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Whatever they have defined, most of the countries in global south are characterized by this is a developing country as we know, but low income, dense population, poor infrastructure, and often the political and cultural marginalization. So global south from one side of divide, on other side global north is broadly comprising North America, mostly developed countries we can understand. Europe, Israel, Japan, South Korea, as well as Australia, New Zealand also. This is also defined by UNCTAD. So as such, the terms global north and global south do not refer to the cardinal directions north and south, as many of the global south countries are geographically located in northern hemisphere. So we are not talking about hemisphere. This is a group as defined by United Nations and others. And countries are the developed considered the global north countries, and who are the developing considered the global south countries. India also part of that, the global south uh, uh, group. So term is used by the governmental and development organization, first introduced as more open and value free and in third world. But now it is going to be the talk of the world now very soon, and already work is on. Media has not given the hype either at the global level or Bharat level. But I am telling you, recently, Mr. Dr. S. Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister of Bharat, has expressed we have been trying for that the leader of global South countries, global South corridors. So, and this the making the proposal with African Union about 54 countries in the part of 53, I think, countries in the African Union, and 6 7 years back there was a very youth meeting already held in Bharat in New Delhi. So that is already if you see the diplomacy, this is a issue and matter of give and take. How you give, how will take, this is a fundamental, open fundamental economics. You see or not, that is a different one. But uh, now, at present, Bharat is an upper stage after the many scenario we have seen Papua New Guinea, Australia, and the quadra, the state, and the America, Australia, Japan, with the all developed countries and South-South cooperation and many ways. So now you see the global North countries also inclined to work with many projects with Bharat, with many ways. Africa already there, and Caribbean and Asia already, but Japan and South Korea, Israel already the very nice friend, good friend, and Germany and Japan and France. Have you seen? Also, somebody say experts say diplomats and diplomatic experts say you can judge and analyze the diplomacy with the body language of two concerned head of states. So we can analyze how like that. So we discuss detail. We have two experts on the discuss on this issue. Vandana Hinganji from USA,
Sure.
Chicago, living more than 30 years. He is a journalist, and Poonam Sharma is a political analyst and educator already, and work with many projects for the country inside and outside. So, Vandana ji, how just you define see the uh, this, this project and just already whatever they started by union our external affairs minister Dr. Jaishankar for leadership, the vision of leadership of the global south countries including the African Union.
Good evening, Poonamji and Kumar Rakesh and to our viewers. Interesting subject because as we talk about this particular century belongs to Bharat, India, and we are seeing it India being the host for G20, which is going to be taking place now. It's a matter of weeks now from now. 20 nation global heads are going to be there in New Delhi, which is itself a big landmark. Coming
So
back to
in Hindi was there was a note of interrogation, but you see that these photographs, Vandanaji, the boss of Global South. So I think he will be the boss, Narendra Modi, the Global South. What do you think?
no, it's a proud moment because reason why people are going to accept it, and because the when we talk about the history of the nation that I also come from, we have never invaded anybody. We believe in Vasudev Kutumbakam. So we have
Yeah,
taken about and thought about, we have taken in consideration and thought about the welfare of all. There is a slogan that he gave, Sabka Saath, and every time he adds on Sabka Saath, Sabka
yeah,
Vikas, and Sabka. So it is now this slogan in parenthesis is going to go for globe, the other nations of the world. It's not only defined to Bharat itself, like the people of India. Which one way? Because there are so many countries, because there is that they are talking about the north and the south, the developing countries versus the developed countries. But lot of developing and underdeveloping countries also have some natural resources. The developed countries are using it, but we are not being able to, we're just using them, but we are
okay,
not being able to do something to uplift them, you know like the country India, Bharat has done it, upliftment of the poor people, bringing them above the poverty line. So it's the same is the responsibility of the world nation, the global nations, that we have to bring it, because everybody should have to have a right for, means, education, food, shelter, clothes, to be honest. And then we can make the world beautiful. Why there is so much of unrest in today's time? So there it is, the diplomacy, the ground diplomacy that has been working. You have to understand, because, and this is a new paradigm shift, we all know that, because the hatred is spread all over, people are started talking so in that context, giving leadership to the true leader is very, very important. There are certain leaders, those who claim themselves to be the leaders, but they are fake leaders, because the leadership cannot take sides.
yeah,
Leaders have to make sure that it is for the all, whosoever is there. Because on a personal level, I can feel sorry about our community that he's not. But when you see on a perspective, on a larger scale, he being a prime minister of all, the whole nation, the number 1.4 billion people of the world, of the nation. So equally, if this leadership has been given to, means, our honorable prime minister, and I am certain that he will be looking after. And then if he has to bend the so-called number one countries, they will be able to bend down and listen to him
okay,
too. Yeah.
okay. Poonamji, how just you think how the Bharat is growing in a different way? And last 7 8 years, we have been now top five economic power. This is a very nice development. Very in general, well, this is a happiness theme. How Bharat is growing right, on an economic front, diplomatic way, and how the most of the countries are accepting Bharat as a leader in other way. whatever African Union subject is there, going to be introduced the G20 meeting by 9th or 10th September. I think whatever lobbies had been there, whatever talks are there, the African Union may be the member of G20 as with European countries, European Union with Italy, Japan, and France, and all has already accepted part of the G20. As well as the expansion of G20, this is a new creation initiated a point by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the leadership of global South leadership. How do you think how it will go? One, how it will impact the other parts of the world too.
Namaskar. Thanks for calling me. This is a very extraordinary event actually in the world arena. If we talk about Bharat, the extraordinary performance of our Prime Minister as a global leader. This is really welcoming, very much welcoming and happy moment for us. Very proud moment for us. Now,
Little
African
loud, please.
Union, African Union, and the South American countries, those who had been underdeveloped. So they have been, African Union. It was treated as a synonym for third world countries only. So over these years, African Union, the countries, they had been playing a good role in the world politics. Recently, seven countries, the representation, they had gone to Russia and China, Russia for the conflict and for amicable settlements. So their initiatives are, welcome. So now, Pradhan Mantri Modi ji's attention, he has, the way he has drawn attention of those countries, the policy, the social organizations and the intellectuals in African countries, they have welcomed Pradhan Mantri Modi
Yeah.
ji's, that regarding their participation in the world politics, because they had been struggling with these power, climate change, and food security problems over these years. So this is a move. This is an initiative which will enhance their, capacities for utilizing the resources for themselves, and it will give a very much access to our Bharatiya businessmen and economic, because today, if we talk about globalization, the perceptions have been changed. There was a time globalization meant what for? It was just for globalization was for only for us. You could never go to USA and start a company there, because globalization meant that American company can come and do the business here, but you cannot go and do the open a company there. Or so globalization should, it should be from both the sides. So in this way, because of our Modi ji's initiatives, there are changes in the world politics. The people, the perceptions have been changed. In fact, Russia and China, they had been taking interest in Africa for some years, and there is a last year, in fact, when Modi ji had initiated Biden, he had supported it very over, he was overwhelmed, and this is a very opportune moment for all of us. It is a good, because the underdeveloped countries or developing countries, during Corona, the vaccine diplomacy, which had played an important role, they do remember that also. So in this way, they will, people, the countries, they will accept. They are going to accept our Bharat as a leader, because not
Okay.
because of.
So you
Uh,
hope so, and we hope so also. Ki Bharat will be the global is now global leader and going to be accept the if you just acquire the leadership of the global South. I think more than I think 120 countries will be under your one roof. So this will be a big achievement.
Exactly, and it is his, whatever he has done for his own country. uplifting the
Yeah.
poor. He is doing it the same out there because it nobody had
Yeah,
spoken,
yeah,
and they
you're
are
right. As you're right, just the concept is whatever Vandana is saying, Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, not for the Bharat in India, for
right,
the other
right.
developing countries also. This is a thought of with our the Vasudev Kutumbakar. Stay with us the time of the break. After break, we'll meet again just to discuss an ahead. Welcome the break. Just how this growing now and how the all the use of the global south in contemporary political sense. It already started in 1969. Just you think, and the term gained appeal throughout the second half 20th century, which rapidly accelerated in early 21st century. It appeared in fewer than the 2,000 publication 2004, but in hundreds of publication 2013. How the development of the terminology, the emergence of the new term been looking at the trouble realities of its predecessors. So, world of developing world and global south, you can understand the terminology. I'm not going to details. The idea of characterizing country by their economic and development status began during the Cold War with the classification East and West. Soviet Union and China represent the East, and the United Nations allies represent the West. So that East and West we can understand. Third, the new term Third World came into parlance in the second half of 20th century. But in all scenario, in Article 1952 article by Alfred Zobby entitled The Trimondes Uniplanete, early definition of third world emphasized by the exclusion from the East-West conflict of the Cold War as well as the ex-colonial status and poverty of people is comprised. So, if you see the history of this terminology, how growing, but in last 15, 20 years, its terminology was, I think, was sleeping or silent. Vandanaji, do you think the terminology of the 60s now energized and categorized and the lobbied and the awakened by our global leader, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for the sake of the great leadership, Vishwaguru of Bharat?
Good evening again. As I was telling, we do make coalitions, we do make quads, we do make some G20, G7, but they should be action oriented. The meetings only should not stay just because there is one group of countries or group of people and all. Because as I mentioned in my earlier Hindi version, I was at a very large convention that was Parliament of World Religion in 2023, which
Yeah,
took place in Chicago after, means like it was 130 years of that
30 years.
organization. So I met a lot of people, I talked to them. They say, whatever we discuss, it should never get to the implementation stage
Okay.
because it just stays on paper. They've discussed MOUs being signed or whatever. Like, so this is a time how it should. Oh, they say that call to action kind of thing. Like, there is a term. So that this is a time now for the action. So if the honorable Prime Minister and the leadership has decided, to dig it out from where it was buried earlier. So this is a need of the time. It's a paradigm shift. We have to understand because the
Okay.
so-called number one nation, if you just imagine, I'm not saying imagine, if you just see that in reality and you figure it out, we are not still number one because we are just number one on paper. We have so much of debt to each and every American
No,
living
but by
here.
economically, we can
Yeah,
say we are number five,
yeah.
but that was also 10, 12. If you say that 10 years back, where
No, no, no.
except for,
I'm talking from the American perspective. You missed it.
yeah,
I said
I
because
do
people
understand.
are
I do.
thinking that America is number one nation. But if you see how much debt an American citizen holds, that is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So we have
Okay.
to come out from real to real. That's what it is. So if
Okay.
India has taken this initiative on the diplomatic level to take it up, and work on real, I think the world will trust them because we do have a history of not invading anyone.
Okay, so nice. So Punamji, whatever Bharat has taken the stand to the lead the globally, lead the world, as we were before independence. 1 rupees equal to $1. I'm not saying $1 equal to 1 rupees. That 1937, 1940, 47. This is a graph. Now 80, 90, whatever is there. I think new definition, our INR is going to be strong. Now had been used by business and trade more than 14 countries. It will grow day by day. This is also the new techniques and development by this Modi government. We can give them the credit. As well as we're talking about the global South corridor, African Union is one important factor who will give the boost to Bharat to lead as superpower. My question is, do you think African Union get the membership of G20 as European Union and others? One, whatever Bharat has been tried a lot. Number two, in this all process, how do you the role of China and Russia last 30 years and 40 years see the policy of China and Russia is own centric. Every country has right to think about themselves for their development and all. But in the present context of the global South, China is also part of that. How China will support or Russia will support to Bharat? Either either China support or Bharat support, Russia support to Bharat. How do you think? How do you analyze?
You see, the present status of diplomacies all across the world has changed. So, if we talk about Russia and China, yes, that is true. China has been trying to, it is a diplomacy of dominance or whatever you can call it. China has been trying to play a very dominant role it has in the south, that sea, and Russia, even Russia. But over these years, there is also another aspect that a collaborative effort has increased across the world. If we see the relations of the countries, China and Russia working together there itself in African countries, and not only because today it is not the ideology actually. Today economic security, this is very much important, and development is more important for the, because national interest, then only, yes, defense, everyone is having a stronger, defense is getting more stronger. That, that is that acts like, balance, that the arms, ammunitions, and the nuclear power, because today most of the countries, they have a nuclear deterrent, we can say. So most of the countries, so there is a balance, some sort of. But when we come to when we talk about the relationships, so it is the economic factor, which is, because the mineral resources, the natural resources in African and the developing countries, they are the most attractive ones, because, and the world is now working to, because the forums like G20, they are, going to raise the voice of the underprivileged, and this is possible only due to our Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, because he has taken up these issues in a real way, in a real sense of the term. And this has been welcomed, and this will really, raise, it will be a very positive implication. It will be in future, China and Russia, America. I think now economic, everyone will, uh, depend on their economic interest of their nation, of the country.
Okay. Okay. So
I do
nice.
not
Just
think
uh, yeah. Yeah. So we'll
conflicts,
see how the what.
skirmishes may get, they may be, but there won't be a big conflict, because everyone is the corona during the corona period. They have the countries have realized that what it takes when you
Yeah,
are
yeah.
in a
That
hopeless
was a
state.
very big development. The corona diplomacy, we can say, and the vaccination distribution. That is also the major part wherever just Bharat has shown real. They believe in the Vasudhaiva
And
Kutumbakam.
everyone realizes that in 2050, the African countries, they will have 45% of the population. So,
Yeah.
and our prime minister is very foresighted. You see, today, if our prime minister, he will succeed. I know, to
Okay. So
get,
nice.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he will succeed. We are so positive. So the future belongs to us. We become the super, power, and we become the leader
Yeah.
of the.
We are superpower going to be the lead the world as Vandana ji said, and as you have already mentioned with the all inputs. So I think so nice discussion, and we hope for the just African Union will get the membership in G20, and we will be the leader of the global South, as we have been trying and talking and discussion to the all concerned with the inputs from different sources just to strong our vibrant Bharat with the vibrant democracy with all inputs. Thank you very much to participate in the show. Uh, uh, all the best to all of us and Bharat also for the Global South and G20. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.